Adam Jones used to be a renowned chef at a high-class Paris restaurant owned by his mentor, Jean-Luc. He holds 2 Michelin stars, but his drug use and obsession with perfection led to his implosion. He not only damages his own career, but also his co-workers and the restaurant's reputation. So, as a form of self-punishment, he travels to New Orleans and shells 1 million oysters. After enduring some difficult times, Adam goes to London to build everything from scratch and pursue his 3rd Michelin star. In London, Adam starts looking for his former co-workers, starting with Tony Balerdi, who used to be the hotel manager at Jean-Luc's restaurant. But Tony now manages the Langham Hotel, which is owned by his father. Adam asks Tony to hire him, but Tony declines because of his damaged reputation. Moreover, Tony is aware that Adam has numerous enemies, such as people he's hurt in the past, and drug dealers who are still looking for him for his unpaid debts. Therefore, Tony does not want to take any risks right now. Later, Adam visits another friend named Conti, who informs him that Jean-Luc has died. Hearing this news, he becomes upset as Jean-Luc was his mentor as well as a father figure to him. After tasting the food at Conti's restaurant, Adam requests permission to meet the chef. He enters the kitchen where he meets the female chef, Helena. Adam compliments her and gives some suggestions for improving her cooking, but Helena hates his arrogant behavior and disregards him right away. After a while, as Adam is strolling, he accidentally runs into his former co-worker, Michel. In the past, when Adam was enraged at Michel for opening his restaurant, he let rats loose in the kitchen to sabotage his reputation. He then reported Michel to a health official, which led to the unfortunate closure of the restaurant. After a brief argument, Michel tells him that he has forgiven him and says he wants to join if Adam decides to open a restaurant. To prepare a new venture, Adam visits various places for talented chefs and meets a guy named David while visiting a suburban restaurant. He compliments David's cooking and invites him to work in his upcoming restaurant and also asks if he can stay at David's place temporarily. Since David is a big fan of Adam's work, he agrees to work with him and also takes him into his house. Next, Adam meets Helena again and invites her to join his restaurant, but she rejects him right away since she dislikes his attitude and arrogance. After failing to convince Helena, he meets Simone Forth, who is a famous restaurant critic. He then asks Simone to conduct a spontaneous inspection of Tony's restaurant. Simone then arrives at Tony's restaurant, and upon seeing her, Tony starts to become anxious. He asks his chef to prepare the best dish, but he realizes it's not possible to do that in such a short amount of time. If Simone dislikes the food and leaves an unfavorable review, the restaurant may face serious problems. Meanwhile, Adam shows up and asks Tony to let him cook for Simone. Tony is in a rush and has no choice but to let Adam cook in his restaurant. After Adam completes preparing the dish, Simone's order is served, and as anticipated, she thoroughly enjoys her meal and leaves some favorable reviews as well. Later that night, Adam tries to convince Tony that he's a changed man now. He requests Tony to relaunch the restaurant and hire him as the head chef, promising to earn 3 Michelin stars this time. However, Tony mandates that Adam must undergo weekly drug tests with his psychiatrist, and despite his lack of interest in counseling, Adam agrees to the tests. The next day, Adam goes to meet his old friend Reese, with whom he used to work in Paris. Apparently, Reese has now opened his own restaurant and has also received 3 Michelin stars. However, the conversation takes a heated turn when Adam criticizes Reese's cuisine in front of many people. Later, Adam recruits another old friend named Max, who is recently released from prison. Max gladly accepts the offer, and they all concentrate on preparing for the perfect opening day. Finally, the Adam Jones restaurant is opened at the Langham Hotel, where he becomes the head chef. Meanwhile, on the same day, Helena is fired from her job by Conti. She realizes it's all Adam's doing and goes to confront him, but instead, he convinces Helena to join his team by promising to triple her pay. Despite all the preparations for the opening, it ends up being a disaster. The problem arises when there are 4 empty tables in his restaurant, which are the subject of news coverage. Adam screams at his team members for making inconsequential mistakes that result in imperfectly prepared dishes. While preparing a meal, he vents his anger by throwing plates and kitchenware around. Adam starts blaming his staff for the mishap, but Helena intervenes, claiming that he is to blame because his menu did not match the outdated cooking style. After hearing this, Adam humiliates her and becomes physically violent, causing her to walk away. As a result, the business goes down on opening day because of the unrealized blunder. The next day, Adam goes for a talk show interview to promote the business. He announces that they are preparing to reopen the restaurant a second time, and Adam assumes full responsibility this time. In the meantime, Tony visits Helena in an effort to convince her to return to work. He offers her more money and also gives some explanation about Adam's behavior to convince her. He claims that Adam was raised in an unhappy environment and has always been impulsive but excellent at his job, and after some consideration, Helena agrees to go back. As she returns, Adam treats her with more respect, and they start to prepare for the second opening. She asks Adam to change with the times and brings modern kitchen utensils, and he agrees. The restaurant becomes successful using contemporary cooking tools as they are more effective, and they also save time when presenting new menus. The restaurant is opening as Adam had hoped, and the customers are satisfied when they visit. Few reviewers give a positive assessment of Adam Jones' restaurant. However, when Reese sees this news, he becomes so irritated that he ends up destroying his own restaurant. One day, Tony gathers everyone working in the restaurant to brief them on the possibility of a Michelin inspector visiting at any time. He then asks everyone to be prepared for this inspection as it's crucial for the restaurant's reputation. Tony continues by explaining that the Michelin judges do not provide information before visiting the restaurant, and that they can only make assumptions based on the judge's particular behavior. They go into the restaurant as regular customers, place their orders, taste their meals, and then form an opinion based on their observations. Sometimes the inspectors arrive in pairs, order appetizers and desserts, and one of them will drop their fork on the floor to test restaurant staff. Therefore, he orders his staff to prepare each dish to perfection because even a small error could ruin the restaurant's reputation. That night, Helena approaches Adam and requests for leave the next day as it's her daughter Lily's birthday. However, Adam does not allow her to take leave, and she vents her frustration in the kitchen. The next day, since Helena is unable to spend time with Lily at home, Tony brings Lily to the restaurant and asks Adam to make a cake for her. Despite being initially hesitant, Adam eventually bakes the cake and serves it to Lily. He then makes an effort to connect with her, which makes Helena very happy. A few days later, after receiving an invitation to the reopening of Reese's restaurant, Adam asks Helena to go with him. At first, Reese and Adam get along very well, but tension rises when Adam sees Jean-Luc's daughter, Anne-Marie. It turns out that Adam and Anne used to date each other and used to do lots of drugs before Adam suddenly disappeared. Adam is surprised to see Anne being kind to him, considering that he abandoned her 3 years ago and missed her father's funeral. She says that her father had asked her to give his personal knives to Adam, thinking he was worthy of being his successor. Adam spends the entire evening being lost and reflecting on what went wrong in Paris. The following morning, Helena approaches him at the fish market and they start talking about their past. Adam claims that he spent his early years working in the fish market. Once he had enough savings, he moved to Paris and was mentored by Jean-Luc to work in his restaurant. He met Max, Reese, Tony, and the others there. But one day, he ended up hurting his friends, his personal life, and the reputation of the restaurant. After that, Adam and Helena return to the restaurant and they share their first kiss. But they're interrupted when Adam is called by some drug dealer to whom he still owes money. He asks Helena to go inside while he deals with them. A few hours later, she discovers him next to the trash can with his face bleeding. Helena then takes him to the restaurant and tells him to rest up for the day. Meanwhile, a waiter from the restaurant arrives and announces that some of the customers have arrived with similar traits to the Michelin review team. Hearing this, Adam stands up and starts to prepare food in the kitchen despite his wound. He manages to prepare the dish somehow. But a short while later, Tony arrives with the plate of food that the visitor has returned, complaining that the sauce is too spicy. It turns out that Michel sabotaged his dish by adding pepper to it, and the only reason he has worked with Adam till now was to take revenge on him for what he did to him in Paris. Adam is devastated by this incident now that all his hard work has been in vain. He gets drunk and tries to jump off a bridge to end his life, but he stops himself. Then he arrives at Reese's restaurant and behaves erratically there. He tries to kill himself by putting his head in a small plastic bag to suffocate, but Reese manages to rip the bag off and saves him. Reese makes breakfast for Adam the next day, and they chat while eating. Reese admits that he's aware that Adam is a better cook than he is, and he still values Adam's work because it inspires him to keep attempting new things. After that, they reconcile with each other and they say goodbye on much better terms. On his way back to the restaurant, Adam runs into the drug dealer, who is now smiling at him. It turns out that Anne-Marie has paid off the entire debt because she was also part of it. She then hands him her father's knives and requests that he treat Helena well. Later, while Adam is staring at Jean-Luc's knives, Tony and Helena come to him with good news. They reveal that the two men were simply some businessmen and not Michelin judges, even though they behaved just like the inspectors. Hearing this, Adam becomes delighted and unintentionally kisses Tony. A few days later, two customers enter the restaurant with the characteristics of the Michelin team. Adam is in the kitchen when Tony tells him this news, but this time, he doesn't react hastily and says that they will proceed as usual. Since he's now confident in the skills of his team of chefs, he instructs them to work without being under any pressure. In the final scene, Adam appears genuinely happy after achieving his biggest dream of earning a 3 Michelin star rating. So, as Adam is happy now, we will be happy if you watch another recap on our behalf here. Cheers!